everyone, Connor here from the Daggers, and welcome to Shim-Line Saturdays. So as you all know, we are in the final two pairings of round one. So we're going to have Show of Strength versus Wolf Assassin, and we're also going to have Sweeping Daggers versus Overhead Toss. So let's get into the first pairing. So we have Show of Strength, another Hero of Exandria, which again, as I'm just going to show it straight away, it has the closest to a not hidden shim. But I think if you get the right angle on this, it looks hidden a little bit. But I was then looking at this one a little bit more intensely because I think a couple of these hidden shims that we've been getting, right, these secret shims have had really bad moments like this where it's like super noticeable, and then we've had these moments where you hit the right angle and almost 99% of the time they disappear completely. But this one's got a quite aggressive shim on it, I actually think, especially in the light, right down just off centre. If we pull up our handy dandy tool, you'll see that it's just off the centre, so it's not going to get any bonus points. I don't even think we've seen anything. I think we've only seen one that's had like a near perfect centered shim. I feel as if I don't know how that necessarily works, but I wonder like how often the perfect centered shim does actually happen. I'm kind of curious to find out because I think we see a lot of these cards with the just off center, usually to the left as well. So it must be something on a printing level where like that seems to be where the traction hits. But this one does have a very, very noticeable shim on the angle when you're looking at the card flat and stuff. Again, a lot of these shims look like print lines half the time as well, just because it looks as if it leaves a tiny faint white line down the centre. But that's obviously just the way the foiling connects, obviously, but like, so it's not actually a print line. As such, it is our own unique shim line. But yeah, I'm looking at this going like, you can't hide this one as crazily. Like, and we've noticed this with a couple, but not that many. Heroes of Alexandria definitely has like a hidden shim, being its kind of like shim-line secret compared to some of the other sets. But I actually like this one, to be fair. It cuts just over the hairline. Doesn't it's almost close to the centre. I think the ones that are just close to the centre are the ones I'm starting to like. But I would have preferred it just over a little bit. See if it was just to the right of her ear, down bang on the centre, it would have filled that bit of art line right down the middle, and I think it would have been perfect. Ratings though, we can't give it a hidden shim because it's definitely noticeable, so it loses points on that. Off centre, I think we've got to go for a 2.5. As much as I like this one, I think there's a lot of stuff fighting against it. So let's see what its competitor is. So coming in with another donation from the community, much appreciated everyone for all the donations we had for this as well. It actually helped crazily. So we have almost full art Wolf Assassin from the collector pack of the Solo Leveling Challenger series, and this is a off center to the right as well. So this is the opposite side, but off center just clips the ear, and it is a heavy shim. This one, there is almost no angle that you can hit where you can't see that shim, which is actually quite crazy. Maybe that at a push at the most perfect of light, but even then you can still see the line down on the text. Oh, this one's actually going to get, I think this has to get like a pretty high score. I can't give it a perfect score. Again, if the centre line was more centre, I think there's a world where we could give it that sort of high 5 score. Sometimes they don't deserve it though. But this is quite cool. Again, obviously this comes from a collector booster pack. So if you're somebody that doesn't like shims, understand that none of your cards are safe. Even if they come in collector packs. If it's got a foil, it might have a shim. If you love shims, fair play. You've won a watch. But I actually like this one. Again, if it was a centered shim, I think I'd love it. So I think the line would have to have crossed between the S and the A. right down the centre. I think it would just be on where like the eye line starts. But otherwise, again, it's actually a really beautiful card as well. I think a lot of these collector packs that do the alt arts and stuff and the alternative arts are really good. Like this one's up there. I think I might honestly rank this similar to the way we did Show Strength. I think this is a pretty close scenario. Again, no hidden shim because there really isn't a lot. I'm right. I'm going to edge this a slight ahead of it. I'm going to say this is just a flat 3. I know I gave Show of Strength the 2.5, but I think just on the rarity of the card, I'm going to give this a 3. I think that's the only thing that's putting it ahead of it for me as such. But aye, this is a cool card. Very, very cool. So, as I say, that is pairing 1 basically for this week. So again, in the comments, you are going to want to comment on which one, Wolf Assassin or Show of Strength, which one you would prefer to go through to the next round. And in the next pairing, we have Sweeping Daggers and Overhead Toss. So let's look at Sweeping Dagger first. So this was a card I pulled on stream, and to hit the ultra rare, one of those cards that has been called for bans, has been called for why did you print this? You've ruined the format, UVS games. To, oh my god, I can't believe I can't play anything higher than a 3 difficulty attack, or else I'm giving my opponent some benefits. Sweeping Dagger's mid, right? Like, card's mid. We're fine with it. But this has an almost perfect centered shim. I know I wasn't happy when I pulled it on stream, but I've also now not pulled any other Sweeping Daggers, so I don't use the card. So this card has the near perfect. It's like, I think it's off by like a fragment. Like, I think I couldn't even, we would have to zoom so intensely on this card, so intensely to see how maybe 1.5 pixels is how off this is from being perfectly centered. Like, honest to goodness, this card has the near perfect shim for centering. On a hidden value, though, it actually really doesn't have a great hid. Like, nah, can we? Because again, Hero of Exandria cards have a really good scenario of being able to be hidden. This one, nah, this one wants to be seen. This is a shim that does not want to be denied the time of day in the sun. Oh, that is brutal. Oh my goodness. But it's a perfectly, almost to the T, perfectly centered shim, which is possibly the only thing saving it for me. Oh, I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't know. Do we give this the full 5-star rating? It's on a card that's very divisive. A lot of people hate this card, not for the shim. A lot of people hate this card for the shim. Some people love this card for both the card and the shim. There's so many conflicting interests. Oh, I don't. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give this the 5 shims out of 5. I think we've got it. I think it's the closest I've seen in a couple of weeks with the perfect, almost perfect scent. And it's almost like, it's so close, I can't even say it without being like almost lying. It's so close, so close. We have to do the super zoom to this one. We're going to do the super zoom. Full on Star Trek level tech is going to be in play here. We're going to figure this one out. But yeah, this card is a cool card. Definitely cool shim on it. And we'll see what it has to compete with, which I think also is a tough contender. Bear in mind, these were all done at random as well. And it has to deal with, again, Star Trek, overhead toss, with also the almost near perfect centered shim. The NPS, the near perfect shim. And this, like all of the Star Trek ones, it is almost impossible to hide the shim in the Star Trek ones. I'm not too sure specifically how the foiling process worked with the Star Trek ones, where it does look quite cool, like beat me up Scotty level stuff. Yo. But no, every shim on the Star Trek ones that we've seen, like unless you hold it at the angle where it doesn't look like a foil, and even then I can still see it on the text part. There's like no way of hiding these shims. If you're not a fan of shims, you'll probably hate these collector packs for Star Trek because if you hit a shim, they're tough to hide. They are very tough to hide. This one's almost perfectly centered as well. It really is almost perfectly centered. It's like so close. Again, this one also might get the super duper zoom in tech to find out. Like if we hold it just like that for a second and we can do a line across and maybe it is. Oh, I don't know. That's so close. That is so close. I think it's off by like a fraction where it would have to be cutting through the O a little tiny bit more than it already is. Obviously they're in like italics, so they're slightly off centered in the angle, but like yeah, so close. So oh my goodness. This is a tough one. I honestly think I'm going to give this a cheeky 5 as well. I like this card as well. This is actually a really nice throw. A 0 mid 5 throw, which is quite funny because it's just, I'm going to do damage. I like cards like that. I like cards that just say, listen, you can block this with any card you want and I'm still dealing damage because I'm a throw. I love it a lot. But I think that Shim, I think this also gets a 5 out of 5. So let's pair off all 4 cards so you can see them in the final frames. So as we say, so we have Show of Strength versus the Wolf Assassin. And we have the Big Daddy Sweeping Daggers versus the Star Trek Wonder Kid Overhead Toss. So in the comments below in the video, in the comments below in the Facebook posts and stuff where we put them up, or where we put them up on the Discord as well, comment, do you want to see Show of Strength or Wolf Assassin in the next round? And do you want to see Sweeping Dagger or Overhead Toss in the next round? And yeah, next week we'll be starting round 2. So after this week is accumulated, I'm going to be working out all of the votes from all of the people who have sent me a message personally, to all the ones put in the comments, and we're going to bracket it up, and we're just going to go from there. So you're going to have to watch each week to see which cards made it to the next round as well. And we'll see you all next week for round 2 of Shim-Line Saturdays. See you later on, everyone.